So I have been living with HIV since 1986, and I learned about my diagnosis in a really strange way. I applied for life insurance, and as part of that, required to do a blood test, signed up for life insurance, did the test, and about a couple of weeks later, I got this letter in the mail. It was kind of ominous. The front of it said in great big red letters, it was written on there, confidential to be opened only by addressee. I had tested positive for HIV and that I should see a doctor as soon as possible because this was a life or death type situation. A lot of that has been enhanced by the new tools that we have. With PrEP being on board, that has started to destigmatize and more people know about it. And then when U equals U came along, even more so, because now you can be living with HIV and undetectable and you don't transmit to sexual partners. One of the things I always worried about was transmitting to others. And I don't have to worry about that anymore. And so that starts to break down that stigma, and there is a lot of continued opportunity to break that down, but there's still so much there. And particularly in, like rural communities and less urban places, churches, there's so many places where it's still so stigmatized, and it's oftentimes equated with being gay, and that is a bad thing as well, in the equation, if you will. And so it's scary how much stigma there still is. There's a lot of work to do. Many people living with HIV feel as though they're very aware and conscious that they might transmit to somebody else. And that's the worst feeling, is to think that you might transmit HIV to someone else. And so I think U equals U has obviously changed that. It's just broken down all those barriers about loving and living and having a very, pleasurable sex life. Undetectable equals untransmittable, just so it's out there. Living with HIV on effective medication, have an undetectable viral load, you don't transmit to your sexual partners. And the evidence is, and the science is really clear about that. There's just no evidence of any transmissions. So it's exciting stuff. There's evidence to demonstrate that people are more apt to test if they know about U equals U, because they know that if they get to a diagnosis, of course, nobody wants to get to a diagnosis, but if they do, they're going to be okay. It's all over the place. I do like that the dating apps have moved to including like positive undetectable. There's more layers of one's status. And whenever I hear those kinds of things that you were mentioning, like, oh, are you clean? Or if I see it in somebody's profile, you must be clean, I am too, or whatever, I always take it as an opportunity to educate. And sometimes it's good, but it's not always good. And you see it, you see people that I find people will just block me, which it's like, fine, I don't want to be associated with you anyway, so bye. But I always start with the conversation about it. But I don't get pissed off, because I think a lot of times it's just people not being educated, and I see it as an opportunity to educate them. I mean, if people know about U equals U and PrEP before they know their status, they're going to be far more willing to test. I just think that whenever we're talking about PrEP, we should be talking about U equals U. Whenever we're talking about U equals U, we should be talking about PrEP, because it helps normalize the conversation. It's that approach that we really need to focus on in terms of our work to end the epidemic. And there's a lot of work to do, but I think there are tools that can help us get there. Things like Q Care Plus and telehealth and other kinds of advancements like that are helping to break that down. So I think we're moving in the right direction. We just need to step on the gas a little bit sometimes.